I'm Terrence James, and you're watching another episode of Neutral Reviews, where we do real reviews for real decisions. And today, we are looking at the all-new 2023 Honda CR-V. And I have borrowed the keys for this vehicle from Westgate Honda in London, Ontario, who's run by enthusiasts, has a great sales team, and who also offers some of the most well-thought-out and engineered vehicles on the road today, including this one. And the CR-V, or Honda's Comfortable Roundabout Vehicle, is not only one of Honda's top-selling vehicles, but is actually one of the top-selling vehicles in the world. So good so that they actually reinvested to give us this all-new 6th generation. Now, as we know, the sea of SUVs is wide and deep, and the CR-V has always stood out by not standing out at all. And that is because it is the true Goldilocks vehicle that strikes just the right balance. It was designed to be a reliable, function-over-form vehicle that gives us exactly what we need. So we take a look at the facts, feels, and final thoughts of the 2023 Honda CR-V EXL all-wheel drive. We give you the quick facts up front, test out how they feel, and then we give you our final thoughts. So let's take a look. Now, the CR-V uses Honda's 1.5-liter turbocharged engine with direct injection that is capable of producing 190 horsepower and 179 pound-feet of torque. It gives you a 53-liter gas tank that gives you around 28 miles per gallon combined, which is capable of rocketing this 3,600-pound SUV belly button from 0 to 60 in around 8.6 seconds. And all that power keeps running through the CVT transmission and keeps going through its active all-wheel drive system with intelligent control that's front biased, but works good in weather conditions like this. And when we talk steering, we have motion-sensitive electronic steering, good for all of those safety features up front. And also, we are steering these 18-inch aluminum wheels, which is an inch smaller than that hybrid that has 19s, but an inch bigger than those 17s on the base. And it's wrapped in these 235/60 all-season tires. Now, suspension, it uses the economical but still good performing McPherson strut front and multi-link in the rear. And all of this is attached to the 11th generation Honda Civic Honda architecture platform that is strong, flexible in the sense of there's lots of configurations to this. In this, you have a 2+3 setup that you're looking at about 106.3-inch wheelbase on here. Of course, it's going to be a little bit front heavy, being a front engine vehicle. Also, it is pretty good on the skid pad for a vehicle like this at 0.86. I'm not sure of the drag coefficient, but it is a brick like all the other ones in the segment, so I'm sure it would be similar to that in the 30s. And also, we are looking at about 73 decibels on the highway for noise. Now, when we come back here, when we talk towing, you're looking at 1,500 pounds that this vehicle can tow, which is the equivalent to one of these active urban lifestyles hanging off the back of your CR-V. Now, let's take a look at the features and facts in the inside. Okay, so let's talk cargo. So when we talk cargo back here, you're looking at about almost 300 cubic feet of space with the seats up, which is excellent, and 572 cubic feet when the seats are down. Of course, they're 60-40 split for extra convenience. And again, this is really good numbers for the segment. As well as that tailgate is power on the EXL, and on the hybrid, you actually have a sensor as well for that. And as you can see, you can actually set the tailgate height at a push of a button, which is really convenient, so you don't have to jump up and down. You do have a 12-volt plug-in back there for that type of thing. You've got all kinds of practicality as far as tie-downs and hooks and everything else like that, as you can see. And you do have a 2-load level floor in the back. I don't believe that the hybrid has it. I'm assuming because of the batteries. And when we come back here to the back seats, not a lot going on back here, aside from the fact that there is a fair amount of space at this 106-inch wheelbase back here. Seats are perforated leather and are heated on both outsides, not the middle here. The middle, of course, you do have a seat with a seat belt that comes out of the roof, so keep that in mind. And one of the things that makes this vehicle really, really good as well for the segment, as you can see, is these back doors open up really, really far, almost like the old PT Cruisers did, so you could get things in and out really, really easy, almost like the trucks nowadays is actually a better analogy. And unfortunately, the window does only go down 3/4 of the way, to keep that in mind as well. Power everything. You don't have any plugins back in here, and there is no extra ventilation control, but there is vents, which is nice to see. You do have cup holders on both sides, and you do have cup holders on the armrest here. You do have light lights in here on the roof as well. And you do have a tiny moon roof to give a little bit more visibility. You have a mat pocket as well. But all in all, most of the things that are happening as far as features and facts go are up front. So let's take a look. Okay, so let's go with the facts up here in the front. So starting off with the seats, we have perforated leather seats, and they are power on both sides. You got 8-way power over here with 2 lumbar settings, and you also have 2 memory settings over here that you set in place on the door. All the switch gear in here is Honda, feels good, works good. Nothing out of the ordinary there. When we're talking about steering wheel though, it is nice, it's leather wrapped, and it is heated with nice convenient button right there. And you do also have hard buttons over here to work a lot of your safety stuff and a lot of navigating through your electronics as well. And that steering wheel is telescopic and tilting. It's manual but works well. And as well on the steering wheel of the hybrid, because it's got more power on there and a sport mode, they actually put paddles on there. And when we're looking over here at the gauge, you do have a digital and an analog gauge, but it's very interesting. I mentioned this on the HRV video because it looks like the same cluster in there is. Here I can't tell. On the video you can definitely tell that there's a difference, but just looking at it, it's very interesting. The whole thing looks digital. I don't know why they didn't make the whole thing digital, but anyway, it looks really good. And of course there's different information in there that you can toggle through. Now when we're looking at infotainment over here, the EXL has your upgraded 7 to 9 inch, but it is missing the built-in navigation. You need the hybrid for that, but of course it does have wired and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so you can get the navigation through there, and it's pretty easy to hook up. As we said, it's wireless, but we do have these convenient ports over here. You have USB and USB-C ports, as well as a 12 volt, and you do have wireless charging on this as well. Now when we come down to other inputs as well, you've got your manual sorry, I shouldn't say manual, more traditional when I say that, gear lever here, not all these fancy electronic buttons like nowadays. And you still have hard buttons for a lot of things you're going to use all the time, like your electronic parking brake, and as well as your auto start stop that you want to turn on and off, or your hill ascent, and of course your drive modes. And you have a nice drive mode selector, hard button here, and sensible drive modes. You just have snow mode, eco mode, and normal mode, and that's really all that you need. And again, with physical buttons, you have physical heating and ventilation, and it's dual zone up here and works well. And as far as other convenience features and practicality, because that's what you're looking for in this well-balanced vehicle, you got lots of storage on both door pockets. You can fit a fair amount of water bottles and whatever you need in there. 2 more water bottle storage here, and also you have a nice deep cavity in the center console with a nice thing that moves back and forth here, a little tray, and you do have a lockable glove compartment as well. And as far as other convenience features go, you do have your vanity mirrors that are lit on both sides, and you have this nice moon roof. It's not panoramic, but it's still nice to get that moon roof open and get some fresh air in here and some light. Now that we've gone through the facts, let's test out how they feel. Okay, so our first test is going to be our real devices for real people test. And what we got is our iPhone 10 here, and we're just going to try out the wireless charger, because most of the cars, they drive me bonkers. 1, 2, oh, okay, that took about 3 seconds. Sometimes they just don't even want to hook up, so that wasn't too bad. We'll call this a pass. All right, our next test is real water bottles for real people. So I got a decent sized water bottle here, and we're just going to see if it sits in the middle. Yep, fits fine. Wiggles around there a little bit, but really not too bad. Doors. Now next is our Canadian cargo test, because you never know when a game of road hockey is going to break out in Canada, and you always want to be prepared. So here we go. Go over to this side in case we got to put people in the car too. That folds down nice manually. And voila, hockey stick, hockey bags, kids, or whoever. Okay, and the next test is, does the vehicle I gave up my sports car for even work for what I need it for? Here we go. Voila. Okay, and next is our exhaust test. Well, I kind of see some, and they're kind of real. Actually, they're really real, but they're kind of hidden. But anyway, they sound like this. At least they're real. Okay, and here's where we do our quick backup test to make sure this thing's not too much of a nightmare to back up. Okay, we got it in reverse. And we're going to use our backup camera. There is different views. I'm going to show you in a second. It does have nice dynamic lines, and not bad. Okay, and here's where we do our quick turnaround test, just to make sure this thing's not too much of a nightmare to turn around in a hurry. Okay, here we go. Not bad. Okay, here's where we do our traffic light Grand Prix acceleration test, just to see if we're going to win some races. Okay, here we go. There is no sport mode, as we said, unless you get hybrid, so it's just normal mode. And here we go. And all joking aside, the CVT does take a few seconds to kick in, but when it does, it's just fine. I'm quite surprised at 190 horsepower, 179 pound-feet of torque. I mean, it's a fairly light SUV at 3,700 pounds, but really it's a lot peppier than I was giving it credit for and what I was expecting. It's fine day to day. Okay, and here's where we do our emergency style brake type test, just to make sure everything doesn't come flying up here with us. Let's test out these brakes. I think I forgot to mention, they're 2 piston front, 1 piston rear, around 12-inch. Vented disc, and solid in the back, vented in the front. And here we go, hard on the brakes. Oh. Not bad. Actually, again, stops really, really composed, not spongy or anything. Great brake pedal. Okay, our next test is our cruising around test. Just how is this vehicle day-to-day cruising around? Is it quiet? Is it bumpy? Is it irritating? You know, basically, it's a time to rant or rave about the vehicle, and really I don't notice anything that sticks out that is bad, hence that perfect balancing act. And to be honest with you, if you watch these videos, you know that I despise SUVs, CUVs. Really all cars are meant to be fun, and as far as I'm concerned. However, I do have to say that this is one of my favorite SUVs I've driven, because it is very, very quiet and comfortable. Everything just is easy to get to, and feels good to the touch. These seats are comfortable. Really is the Goldilocks. They're not too firm, not too soft. Same with the suspension, not too firm, not too soft. Acceleration, as you saw, yeah, it's CVT and a little bit slow, but all SUVs in this segment are like this. Yeah, some of them have a little bit more power and things like that, and yes, you can get the hybrid if you want more power, but generally speaking, it's fine day to day. And as we said, so was the braking, handling. It really does. I really have got to get myself in the new 11th generation Civic, because I've driven the HRV now, we did a video, and now the CRV, both on that platform. And being higher vehicles, bigger suspension travel, longer suspension travel, things like that, I'm quite surprised at how well this handles. I'm really, really enjoying it. Yeah, everything just feels really, really good. I have absolutely no complaints in here. This is my kind of SUV if I'm going to buy one. And it's a good size. Again, it's that Goldilocks, not too big, not too small. I really like that HRV, but, these Konas, HRVs, any of these types of vehicles that I have an issue with, I have a Golf, and people look at me and go, well, why in the world would you ever want to spend $40,000 or whatever on a Golf R? It's this tiny little hatchback. But minivans, SUVs, everything nowadays, you're looking at $50,000 Canadian average price on something. And for me, I would rather have the world's most amazing, or one of the world's most amazing hatchbacks for fun, speed, practicality, everything like that, than an HRV or a Tiguan or any of those types of vehicles that are, maybe not a Tiguan because it's the same size as this, but anything that's smaller in that subcompact range, because really you're not gaining enough usable space as far as I'm concerned. Maybe an inch here, an inch there in the back, but you're not going to be able to put any more things than you are in your Golf or a hatchback or anything else like that. It's not until you get to this size of vehicle where you really notice a lot more passenger space and cargo space without going over the top like in some of the other vehicles like the XC90 Recharge or the Atlas or some of these larger vehicles. Yeah, it just really is a good driving vehicle. And when we want to talk about styling, similarly, it is just, the more I looked at this, the more I enjoyed it today. There's nothing fancy about it. It still looks like a Honda. It still looks like a Honda CR-V. It fits with that new corporate front end. You know, some people say it looks a little bit like a Mazda, but hey, whatever. It looks really good. Both those vehicles are great. And as we said, well, hopefully we're going to be doing the new CX-50 coming up probably next week. But regardless, these are all really nice vehicles. They drive well. There's lots of space, things like that. It's really, you're just picking the right one for you, and they're all similar prices. And when we want to talk about that, we want to talk about price, and we want to talk about competition. So price, you're looking here at 5 different trims in Canada. You got the LX that comes in a front wheel drive or an all-wheel drive. And then you can get up higher than that. And once you get higher than that, that's when you're going to see that Tiguan, which we're going to mention in a minute, and that CX-50, when they're comparably equipped, they're about the same price. So realistically, it's a good entry price for this vehicle at around $34,000 or $35,000 Canadian, and you get all the way up to about $48,000, $49,000 Canadian for that hybrid. And for something like this in the EXL all-wheel drive, you're about $5,000 cheaper than that hybrid, and you've got almost all of the same looks and features. Yes, you do have an inch smaller wheel. You don't have navigation, you don't have paddles, and you don't have a sport mode. But really, you know, you got these beautiful seats, interior, all the practical features, things like that. And as I said, I haven't driven the hybrid. We hope to do a review on that when it comes out. But this power here is quite adequate. I can't see any problem with it. Lots of storage, things like that. And the sound system in here is pretty good as well. It's got the 8-speaker sound system, which is above the bass, but not as good as that 12-speaker Bose that you can get in the hybrid. But generally speaking, as I said, all in all, this is a really, really good vehicle, and I've really enjoyed my time with it, which leads me to my final thoughts. Now, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and check out one of our other related SUV vehicles, like on the 2022 Volkswagen Tiguan, so we can get more cool cars like this one in our upcoming review on a Mazda CX-50, the new 2023. Now, we started off this review by looking to compare the facts against the feels for the all-new 2023 Honda CR-V. And here are the facts and feels that we used to come up with this final thought, which is, if you don't actually live near a track or have your dream active urban lifestyle to hang off the back of your SUV, then I suggest that you just choose the vehicle that strikes the right balance and gives you exactly what you need. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.